So I'm Captain Brian Coombs. I'm the owner and operator of Get Tight Sport Fishing, and I'm an Albie addict. Woo! Hey, right here, right behind you! All I want to do is Albie fish. I don't want to do anything else. It's Albie season here in the Northeast, and I'm down in Cape Cod, Mass, catching Albies. Usually when I go out and target false albacore, I'm mainly using spinning gear and lighter spinning gear. I usually like something between 38 and 42 inches per crank on the reel. If you're going to look for a reel, you want something with extremely smooth drag. Albies have a real fast run, and you want to make sure, because of the lighter line, whatever reel you're choosing has a really smooth drag curve. It's going to allow you to land more fish and break less fish off with the lighter line. My go-to rod is usually a 7'6" rod. I like something with an extra fast action. This is the new Shimano Inshore Talavera rod. Very price point affordable rod. Good rod, great sensitivity. 7'6". I like the 7'6". It gives you a little bit of extra casting distance, as well as still being manageable on the boat. 8 foot seems a little long sometimes. A 7'6" is also going to give you a little bit better accuracy at shorter distances. I usually use a fluorocarbon leader. Most of the time, I'm running at least a 6-foot shot of fluorocarbon. The fluorocarbon that I like, I use Seaguar fluorocarbon. Seaguar Gold Label is going to have a little bit thinner diameter than traditional fluorocarbon. So rather than running a traditional fluorocarbon at 15 pounds, I'm running a Seaguar Gold at 20. It's going to give me a little bit more breaking strength, and also having the diameter of like 14-pound standard fluorocarbon. I like it. I lose a lot less jigs with running the 20-pound Gold because it does have the higher breaking strength, and we also break off less fish. It also allows you to catch multiple fish in a row on the same leader. For line, I like something, usually an 8-strand Spectra. This is Power Pro Super Slick right here. It's 20 pound, real thin diameter, great for casting. I always buy a line that's casting specific when I target false albacore. There's a lot of lures out there that work great for Albies. Most of the epoxy style of metal jigs are my go-to. Today, especially, we had a lot of bay anchovies present out in the Sound. This is like an orange color, it's called shrimp. Works extremely well when bay anchovies are present. As you saw today, you know, we kind of had no issues hooking up on these fish. The fish were on the chew. I like any type of northern wind, northwest, north. It's really going to push a lot of the bait out of the estuaries. It's going to be a colder wind, so it's get the bait again moving out of those estuaries and into the areas that the Albies are going to be present. Today, we got a northwest wind. It's blowing sustained 20 to gusts to 30, and they've been relatively on the chew today. Any cast that's basically been in the vicinity of fish, even a lot of the blind casting, has been rewarded today. They're not being picky at that point. Rough, turbulent weather confuses the bait. It's tougher for the bait to struggle against the wind and the current in these scenarios, and it makes it easier for the Albies to feed. So they do feed a lot heavier in rougher weather. Calmer days, they're definitely a lot pickier. Today, we're able to upsize the jigs, use a little bit more weight to get a little bit more range in the wind because they're feeding so heavily. You're able to actually get away with a little larger presentation compared to some of the bait that they're actually feeding on. What's happening is the bait's kind of being funneled out east of us. And what's happening is the bait's being pushed into these contour pockets, and that's where you're gonna get your best shots with fish are gonna feed along those contour lines. They're gonna run circuits usually down through these areas. And that's your best opportunity in conditions like this. Get up ahead of them in the wind and do long drifts through them and kind of pin them in these contour pockets in here where the bait is, and we'll definitely get tight at some point as we drift through this. Using the chart, you can see what we have here. Bait is being blown against our structure. And then if you look out here, look at the bird pile in the distance. You can see all the birds, fish right underneath them. Contrary to most belief, it's pretty easy to mark albies on side imaging once you come through them. Especially a lot of times when you're working structure scenarios. It's good just to have the side imaging on, because you might be doing a drift and all of a sudden you're not seeing anything on the surface, but all of a sudden you're marking streaking fish coming through the imaging, and then you're able to focus on that side of the boat with your blind casts. When you're using your side imaging, one of the things you want to be aware of is always increase and decrease your range according to your depth, okay? So as the cone angle comes down, I don't know if you can see right here, see how it darkens at 120 feet on each side? That's about as much range as I'm going to get in the water depth that I'm in. Rather than losing the detail and keeping it out at 200 and having a dark area, you're better off bringing it in. I'm going to bring it into about 115 feet right there, and I get much better detail with whatever comes onto the screen at this point. I kind of wait my entire year to do this. I love albie fishing. Basically, when the albies show up, I completely forget about striped bass. I could care less about striped bass right now. For me, windy, rough conditions like this is your quintessential albie fishing. They're just so much fun. It's a visual fishery. You have to work harder for these fish. Just everything about them is cool. You know, how fast they are, their look, everything, the fight. You can't beat fishing for false albacore up here in the Northeast. You know, it's becoming more and more popular as well, where it was, you know, 10, 15 years ago. You know, albies have that mythical, you know, game fish status up here in the Northeast now. Everyone enjoys albie season, including me. I do it for about 4 weeks straight every year, and I love it, dude. I can't get enough of it. At one day you could have the highest of highs, and the next day you could have the lowest of lows, but that's why you albie fish. It's, you know, it can be maddening sometimes, and then like today you can be rewarded by the fish gods. We came out here, it's blowing 30, it's as snotty as can be, and we've done extremely, extremely well in these conditions.